A licensed game in the wild. Yeah, remember when licensed games were way more prevalent? Back in my day, whenever a movie or something came out, interactive adaptations would just spawn for literally every single relevant system. Now, with game development being as expensive as it is, you really don't see that anymore. Maybe that's for the better, since they were mostly just poorly put together shovelware. Now they haunt the accursed mobile game market, waiting for some dumb kid to spend all the money on mom's credit card. Well, during the early 2000s, Nickelodeon was trying hard to get into the game space with its Nick Games division, having many a B-grade platformer formed for most of its everything it created. Jimmy Neutron, Fairly Odd Parents, Barnyard, and so much more. I heard most of these games were actually pretty good. They adapted everything to a game so much, they just up and created a totally original IP just to make more video games. I'll get to that series sooner or later, I haven't actually completed it yet, but given these circumstances, it's a no-brainer that Nick would bring about video games for its most popular show, SpongeBob SquarePants. I shouldn't have to explain what SpongeBob is, do I? The absolutely amazing sea-themed mega hit of a show that shaped my generation and many to come. Created by marine biologist turned cartoonist Steven Hillenburg. Rest in peace. And games they did bring about. Look at them all. I had no idea there were actually this many. With the most popular and fondly remembered one being SpongeBob SquarePants Battle for Bikini Bottom. Developed by Heavy Iron Studios and published by THQ. Also RIP. And yes, it came out for everything, including the GBA where it was a side-scroller and the PC where it was a point-and-click adventure, even though I'm certain they probably could have just reported it, but yeah. But most people remember the real deal, a 3D collectathon platformer where SpongeBob, Patrick, and Sandy got to fend off an invasion of rambunctious robots. Since it sold really well and was actually pretty good, it became a cult classic. There's plenty of people that hold it in high regard, and heck, even a sizable speedrun community has formed around the game. People were even calling for a remake of this game, which I heavily doubted would ever happen, but turns out THQ's splinter son, THQ Nordic, decided to take up the reins, get the license, and announce a remake that's scheduled to come out sometime next year. So because of that announcement, and because I've been wanting to make a video on this game for a while, now's a good time to actually do this review. Look, I'm going to apologize in advance for the subpar video quality with my shoestring budget capture setup. I don't like to emulate, as I prefer to play stuff on original hardware, even though my GameCube keeps giving me this, and my disc keeps giving me this, and the software I'm using is archaic to the point where the stereo sound is reversed for some dumb reason. Had to resort to doing this barbaric act. Whatever, here be the game. On one fateful afternoon.
Hi, Purple Streak here. You don't remember me from such videos as My Top 10 E3 2019 games, or that one time you could see me in a mosh pit on Sky Arts. So Trey, do you mind if I call you Trey?
Well, I'd prefer my professional title, Trey Gamer Fitty.
So I'll be taking over Ray to talk about the plot, so here goes.
Welcome to Bikini Bottom.
It starts one fateful afternoon with the opening cutscene zooming through the HUD for some reason, and everyone's favourite microboy has created the Duplicatotron 3000 to create an army of robots. But oh no! He set the switch to don't obey instead of obey.
Bruh. Oh no, wait! But I'm your master! I made you!
Yeah, if you're looking for a good plot, you won't find it here. But it's funny, and that's all you really want from a SpongeBob plot. After all, let's not forget the plot of the first SpongeBob movie hinged on the intellectual plankton not knowing the letter Z existed. Anyway, at the same time as this happening, Patrick with SpongeBob make a wish upon a magic shell to have robots to play with, and so in the morning he thinks the robots are his doing. He then sets out to help Plankton by destroying the robots and helping him get access to the chum bucket once again by collecting a load of gold spatulas. So that's basically the whole plot, as the rest of the game is just collecting more spatulas to go to new levels to get more spatulas. By the way, have you guys read the Battle for Bikini Bottom manual? I mean, of course you have, why wouldn't you? But I bring it up because the plot in it is all wrong. It says SpongeBob had the idea to wish for real robots, when in fact it was Patrick. Who fucking approved this shit? If they think I'm not gonna call customer services to complain, they're wrong. I guess I'll throw it back to Trent now. Hey, you said I'd get the first payment for this cameo up front, but the check bounced? Can we talk about that? Or?
As you can tell right off the bat, this game does a great job of capturing the characters. That beginning really felt like a start of an actual episode, and disgusting CGI, but whatever. The only weird thing to me about this whole ordeal is that the story of the game goes on to have SpongeBob go off to defeat the robots using direct, violent, brute force. At least without going all karate crazy. But it's a freaking video game platforming adventure. It's bound to be direct opposition, so it doesn't really matter. Like, who cares, Trey? I mean, it's just a random thought in my mind that I just came out with, like, right when I was writing this. Just my creative writing side. I mean, I think SpongeBob would actually go a different way of disposing these robots, but who cares? There are only a handful of cutscenes like this that are actually fully animated. Most of the dialogue you have is, well, straight dialogue, so it really has to focus on good writing. And the writing is actually pretty good, and the comedy, well, that's usually hit or miss based on your taste of humor, but I think it's alright. Maybe in the remake, these transactions could actually be fully animated. That would be awesome. With great performances by the original voice actors like Tom Kenny and co. Honestly, I don't think they really need to change a thing with the dialogue. Heck, maybe even use the original recordings, and then there's Mr. Krabs.
SpongeBob, this flapping robot crisis is making the Krusty Krab lose money like a sinking ship. No money means no more Krusty Krab. No more Krusty Krab means no more fry cooking for you.
He just sounds so wrong and fake. It's like he was deprived of circulating air for a whole week. I'm guessing they were reaching their VA budget limit, so they had to cut Clancy Brown because he was asking too much. I don't know. But yeah, I bet Nick's not going to let this happen again. I bet they're going to re-record all the dialogue just to make it all fit better, I guess. I hope they don't change many of the nuances and emphasis utterances like Activision and Toys for Bob did for the Spyro Reignited trilogy, which, if you remember my video on that game, bugged me greatly. Also, Mermaid Man's voice actor, Ernest Borgnine, wasn't involved either.
Is it pudding night yet?
Well, that can't really be helped now because, well, rip. Also, Barnacle Boys VA Tim Conway also passed, so I hope they can get some really good impersonators. Man, all these deaths relating to this show is making me really sad. Well, with the plot out of the way, on to the most important aspect of any game. Gameplay. The camera's inverted, and there's no way to change it back. What the heck? Plus, looking up and down is so finicky. Like, look at it. Other than that minor complaint that I'm pretty sure you don't care about, SpongeBob feels great to control. He has his set speed, which may feel slow, but nothing is really stretched out, so you're not running long distances. It kind of reminds me of how classic Crash felt. You know, having that kind of catharsis of you just trucking along and making accurate jumps. Concerning the other playable characters, despite them being similar to Control, and I think their jumping and top speed being the same, I couldn't tell at least, they feel very different, though appropriate to their character, like stiff and bouncy, trotty yet weighty, agile yet grounded. Those feels, along with their unique footsteps and walking patterns and even a bit of procedural turning animation, makes them feel good to control. If there's one thing you should nail while making a platformer, it's making the characters fun and satisfying to control. Good job, game. Like, really, good job, devs. Also, destroying the robots feel wonderful. Like bang, crash. There are a bunch of enemy types you'll have to deal with. Some of them are simple, some of them are annoying, some of them are really annoying, and some of them probably won't look the same in the remake. Yeah, those more annoying ones you have to use your current character's special abilities to defeat. For starters, SpongeBob have these bubbles-based attacks which you can...
I can cover this.
Yeah?
Yeah, you sit down, get a drink or something, and one for me too. Preferably alcohol. In fact, if it isn't alcohol, I won't drink it. And you're paying.
Well then.
It's the least you can do. So yeah, you've got the Bubble Spin, which is your general attack against the enemies you'll face, so prepare to spam this. Bubble Bounce, which uses big bubble feet to crush enemies beneath you and satisfies anyone out there with particular fetishes. Bubble Bash, where SpongeBob dons a Viking helmet and strikes enemies or buttons above him. Perhaps it's based on Leif Erikson Day? Bubble Bowl sees SpongeBob throw a bubble as if it were a bowling ball. It's fun and all, but it's quite circumstantial and not as cool as when he basically becomes a SpongeBob Super Monkey Ball crossover and becomes a ball himself. I feel like this move could have been removed altogether and replaced with just SpongeBob in ball form, especially when considering the fact some of the best levels in this game are when SpongeBob are in this state. And Cruise Bubble creates a fun, controllable bubble torpedo.
Its controls are inverted too! Both axes this time. I'm breaking back in because I want to say that this is probably the coolest power in any 3D platformer in my opinion. Just, being able to summon your own infinite ammo cruiser missile out of thin water air, tracking some poor sitting sap and just blasting him into pieces. Freaking metal. SpongeBob's bubble abilities are cool and all, but I always wondered why wasn't his normal attack one of his karate moves, like they would end up doing in the SpongeBob movie game. I'll tangent about that game later on, but probably because the karate focus is on Sandy Cheeks. Despite having better combat training and form, her attacks don't cover as much area as SpongeBob's spinning. Either way, she has a lasso which she can use to bully enemies and slam them into the wall, even though you'll be left vulnerable for a couple seconds. Kills momentum, but still really fun to use. You also get this glide move for long distance platforming. I've never played a Rayman game, but it looks kinda similar to that, but with more of a horizontal movement and only for a limited time. Also, you can swing from these random Texas signs floating in the air for no good reason. You can get some crazy momentum by falling on these. And then there's Patrick, who drew the shortest end of a usefulness straw, which I guess is appropriate for a lazy character, but bruh, he can't even attack in the air. What good is he? His only real ability is throwing stuff like perishable watermelons to pond freezing fruits for some impromptu ice skating. Also, his ground pound attack is probably the most fun to use despite completely halting his movement. Reminds me of Wario's ground pound in his games, just instead of using some pre-animation, you just land with all of your dead weight, like he just flops there.
My flop is the mightiest flop of all!
It's called the Smash.
Whoa.
After using this camera style for a while, I'm starting to understand the logic behind it. Like, you're not pointing where you want the camera to pan its view, which is what I'm normally used to, but it's like you're moving the actual camera itself towards where you're pointing, which swivels the view the other way since you're the focus of a shot. Yeah, I still hate it. It's going to be a while until it wears off enough for me to play other third-person games again. Concerning game structure, this is good old stock Silver Age PS2 era 3D collectathon platformer we got here. It has a hub area that has portals or taxi stops to the levels, of which you can usually freely choose which ones to do next if you're got enough of the quintessential collectathon main collectible. The said main collectible of this adventure are golden spatulas. Why golden spatulas and how would they solve our heroes' problems? I don't friggin' know, it's never explained. It's a video game based off a ridiculous kids cartoon, just have fun collecting them, there's like 100. So shut up and enjoy this video game like a good land-dwelling creature. Thank you so much for your patronage to the globe-stretching Viacom entertainment machine.
Hey, completely unrelated question. You're still taking your medication, right?
You get these things from completing challenges, beating level objectives, reaching a level milestone, sometimes hidden around the corner, or just buying them straight out from Mr. Krabs using these shiny objects, which are these flower leaf things found everywhere based off those prevalent flower designs in the show. There's this game's coins or rings or freaking whatever, the most common collectible most often used to direct you towards stuff. And you can use them to unlock sections or gadgets within levels, or, as said, trade them for spatulas. I guess the normal money was deemed too dull to use. Also, Patrick lost his socks. All over the place. How? Don't ask. They're more secretive and or challenging to obtain, and you can trade 10 for a golden back scratcher.
I don't speak Italian.
The challenges you have to go through are usually pretty fun, like sliding using your tongue, combat arenas, wedgie bungee jumping, okay. Everything in the Pier Fair section of Goo Lagoon. Then there are the ones that are really aggravating. I can name a few notorious ones off the top of my head. This one here trying to balance a melon across these tipping platforms. The Sea Needle Tiki Smash that resets every time you die. Everything in the Dream level. Trying to get all the Barnacle Boys bath salts in the jungle caves. I swear that one challenge took me over half an hour to do because you have to find all 3 of these stone tikis. Even though there's like a melon so close, so it looks like it could work if you speedrun it, but no. And it's a required puzzle to finish the level. Kind of. Actually, that's not really true because being a good collectathon, you don't need to collect everything to get a normal ending. Point is that there are some stinkers. I like trashing Squidward's house better. This game gets harder the more you go along. Thank goodness there's not a live system. I'm not against live systems like some people, but I think this was a better call given the target demographic. One weird thing I want to note is like there are these checkpoints you go back to if SpongeBob dies. They spring up with a spoink, but there's also like a lot of invisible ones, so why even have flashy ones if you're just going to have invisible checkpoints? I don't know. That's a really weird thing to say if SpongeBob dies. Yeah, you can get straight up murked in this game. Daggum, he just fell stiff, Half-Life flatline and everything. SpongeBob's health is measured by pairs of underwear, of which you can upgrade to 6 by finding golden underwear in the hub world. Yeah, I remember when I was young and I would do something bad like hit another kid or flip my school desk in a tantrum that I would layer multiple pairs of underwear over me to cushion the spanking. Yeah, I was not a good kid, trust me. Should I keep that in? As you probably already figured out, you can use golden spatulas to unlock levels in new worlds or sections, blocks of the hub world after fighting a boss that literally comes out of nowhere. I find it awesome that the bosses are just giant robot versions of playable characters. There's also a handful of mini bosses thrown in that are pretty cool, like one of Mermaid Man's old villains, the Flying Dutchman, and the almighty King Jellyfish. Scandalous. The environments look really well done and are all pretty unique, based off of settings from the show, like downtown Bikini, like Jellyfish Fields, Sand Mountains, Kelp Forest, Rock Bottom, and a lot more. Not to mention the hub world with all your favorite locations like the Coral Street Trio, Sandy's Dome, Sandy Shoals Retirement Home, the Krusty Krab, the Chum Bucket, that one theater that you can look at the concept art for a ridiculous entrance fee, and a police station where you can see all the info on all the enemies. I wasn't going to name them all of them, but it's just so cool to see them all. Now here's something for all those copyright-stricken YTPs, the Sponge Bill Lives Matter Challenge. Walk into your local police station, slap the receptionist, and then get the frick out. Man, I remember these last few levels being a lot harder. Well, back when I was a kid than now as an experienced adult. Like, daggum, Sandy's segment in the dream sequence I remember took me forever to beat as a kid, but like, with all the weird jukes and such, I only fell like twice.
I don't know, man. Have you seen Super Mega's recent Let's Play of it? They're making that game look pretty difficult if you ask me.
Depends. I think this game has a pretty stable difficulty curve. Usually you'll get good by this point, but still, this game will freaking challenge you, especially if you're going for the 100%. I feel like the difficulty starts to really rise after the first boss, especially Rock Bottom. I'm mainly remembering that dream level, the final level. Oh boy, they fitted those annoying cubes from Mario 64's TikTok clock with freaking spikes. As said in the final sections of the game, I died less, but more so reset areas to actually get stuff done. Yeah, this final level really does a good job testing everything you've learned. Sandy's for sliding, Squidward's for precise platforming, Mr. Krabs for cheesing, I mean combat, and Patrick is Patrick.
Your challenge is to find the golden spatula!
You're holding it.
You did it!
Here I go into the void!
Trey? Trey? Well, he left. So, like you just mentioned, all the environments are based around the show, with stuff like King Neptune and his Poseidon for the boss battle against a robotic Sandy, or the Mermaid. It's just really great to be able to explore all these places.
I'd expected the Mermalair to be more close-knit network of caves, mostly like its second area. I feel like Jellyfish Fields could have been better if there was more green at the bottom. I know, they kept it sand to ensure you wouldn't get confused on which ground you're supposed to stand on, but still, I feel like there could have been a better workaround like a darker green or making the platform higher. I swear, Rock Bottom has to be like the most broken level. I was able to do a large sequence break without much effort. Also, why do the character-specific obstacle when there's a random widow jumping out you can hop on? Yeah, this game get glitchy. No wonder speedrunners flock to it.
Flash! Authorities have confirmed that the robots running amok through Bikini Bottom are indeed coming from the chum bucket. Yes, right where you're standing.
Yeah, I think there was supposed to be something there. Yeah, that's a broken script, methinks.
And then stomp on your children! And stomp on your children's children!
Just my style.
Oh, let's see what's beyond the Bikini. Bruh, there are so many references to the show in specific episodes that I keep discovering them every time I replay through the game. Like, it took me forever to realize that these boxes you use to teleport are from the Imagination episode. Heck, I didn't even think about what the helmet attack could be referring to the Leif Erikson Days scene until you brought it up, Perps. Okay, in Kelp Forest, the place where you need to turn your TV brightness all the way up, there's like this hand plant that smacks you around when you get near it. Where is that from? Why is it here? Is it a reference that I feel stupid for not getting? From the way it's positioned towards the front, I think it was going to be a regular stage hazard, but the level designers decided against it. But it probably was already programmed in and they thought it was funny, so they just left it there. Is this true? I need answers on the hand plant! Getting back to the game's general presentation, the graphics you've been seeing this entire video are actually pretty good. They're your typical third-party PS2 standard graphics, which always throw me for a loop being spoiled off first-party GameCube games. The visuals are serviceable, and they did a great job at capturing the show, but everything feels kinda dull. Like, it's trying to be vibrant, but it's like, not working. It's mostly the hub world in some sections. It reminds me a bit of how really early SpongeBob episodes looked, which, hot take, I don't like how the really early episodes looked all grungy and washed out. I think SpongeBob visuals got way better when it jumps to digital coloring. I don't dislike 90s cartoon cell grunginess overall, it's just, I think it just doesn't mix well with SpongeBob, but I don't know. I've been rewatching the series recently and it does have a unique charm to it, but anyways, this looks like something Remake's gonna remedy. Look, all I'm saying here is that I think the game would look way better if it had like a light dipping of cell shading or at least more saturation. Before I get off the presentation, I just want to say that the soundtrack is pretty nifty and catchy. It sounds like the show, yet it's unique to itself. Alright, let's start wrapping up. Spoiler time, I guess, for a 16-year-old game with a predictable plot. Skip the paragraph to here, but I just want to say, daggum, the final boss, that giant SpongeBob robot guy, I unironically think is one of the coolest bosses ever. Especially for a platformer. That voice attack is so freaking ominous, yet ludicrous. Like, what the heck? Stop questioning me. And then you go inside and have to do all this crap in one freaking run. Like, come on, at least one checkpoint halfway through this gauntlet. I died more times in this whole fight than I'd like to admit. Anyways, you tear the thing a new one from the inside out, and everybody goes out for ice cream, and you're greeted to a SpongeBall trick arena to mess around in during the credits. The end. Also, if you get all the spatulas, the characters do a little awkward dance number for you. So there's that. Okay, a couple of things I want to add in post, as I already have this video heavily edited. The audio balancing in this game is crap. Yes, I know the audio balancing in this video is crap, but shut up, this here is a real problem. I had to turn the background music way down to 4 notches so it'll sound normal, even though the sound effects are still at max. But since they're still at max, some sounds, mostly that of running water, are stupid loud. Like, listen. Also, I may have already made a text overlay correcting this, but turns out the PC version of this game is not a traditional point-and-click adventure like the SpongeBob movie game was, but it's more of a straight-up minigame collection. I'm kind of disappointed in that, but hey, maybe we can have these mini games and rehydrated as, like, you know, straight mini games and an extras menu, maybe? Maybe a secret ROM of the GBA version? That'd be neat. Plus, I'd love to see the PC version's cutscenes get redone because, well, some of them are interesting.
Entering kelp forest. Watch your step. Watch my step? My clothes ripped off. Tartar sauce. I guess I'll have to find something else to wear. Come here, you little... Whoops. Sorry about that, little friend.
Bruh, did he just nonchalantly skin a random animal alive right there? What the heck? Alright, what were we talking about? Oh yeah, my summary and thoughts on this game. So yeah, this game does a wonderful job of taking elements and ideas from a show and faithfully making it into a quality video game. This is how you do a licensed game right. Tight and satisfying gameplay, good level design, creative ideas, faithfulness towards the source material, a good touch of challenge, and basically being great as a video game. It is very evident that this game holds up pretty well, and is a good time from start to finish. Would highly recommend, or maybe just wait and get the upcoming remake. Heavy Iron Studios would go on to make the SpongeBob movie game for Nickelodeon. Nickelodeon's SpongeBob SquarePants the movie. The game. Wait, no, Nickelodeon the SpongeBob SquarePants movie. That is a game for the SpongeBob SquarePants movie. Yes, for every system under the sun. Since it used the same engine, many assets, and has a very similar gameplay, it's pretty much Battle for Bikini Bottom's spiritual successor. Too bad not a very good one. It's way more linear, has very bad pacing, and tells the story terribly. I know it's not supposed to replace the movie, but it does a very terrible job conveying what's actually going on, and it feels more like it's because of incompetency. Especially with all of these cheap slideshow cutscenes, like, couldn't you just remake more of the scenes in the engine? Playing this right after BFBB felt like a straight downgrade, like everything's worse. Defeating enemies are nowhere near as satisfying as destroying the robot horde. The challenges are just, like, not as good. I mean, there's like these cool little challenge rooms, but like, a good bit of them are like these freaking horde mode. Like, what the heck? It feels like this game was just rushed and made purely out of obligation rather than actual care.
Whoa, are we talking about the same game here? The SpongeBob movie game was an absolute classic. The platforming was solid, you could drive the paddy wagon, you got to ride the Hasselhoff and bring the crown back! Granted, I'm wearing one of the biggest pairs of rose-tinted nostalgia goggles out there, but I'm pretty sure even if I took these off, I'd... I'm really scared, man!
I want you to do me a favor, Bill.
What?
Say cheese.
The beginning. Let us now join our heroes in the midst of their self-pity.
Oh. You're right, this is awful. I might have to edit my IGN review. Okay, yeah, I still love this game, but I do have to agree with you. This is definitely a downgrade.
I mean, it's not terrible. It has some fun parts to it. I just personally don't recommend it. Unless you are really itching to play more Battle for Bikini Bottom with there being new stuff. And I think it goes to show that, though there would be many more SpongeBob games of varying quality, no other game has really caught the spirit of this one. And people know, which is why they've been wanting a remake of this game, or at least a new SpongeBob game in a similar vein to this one. And after all these years, we're finally getting it. And it's not just an HD port. They're going to be reportedly adding all sorts of additional content, mostly stuff that was left on the cutting room floor for the original. Fun fact, you can see all of his concepts art and stuff in-game by spending shiny objects at the theater. I can't believe I actually farmed that much when I was a kid. Possibly the most notable concept art being the Squidward robot boss, and potentially a Glove World level? I think my favorite stage segment was that Fair Pier level in Goo Lagoon, so heck yeah, I would like an entire level of that. Maybe this time they'll add an extra level to every section of the overworld, that would be cool. There's enough cut content of this game to make entire half-hour long videos, so I'm excited to see what it'll look like by the end of it. I'll be sure to make a quick video on it whenever it comes out. Hopefully some gameplay or more information has been revealed by this time the video goes up. Here's to hoping that it turns out well. Sadly, it's not being made by Heavy Iron, they weren't even notified, so Purple Lamp Studios, you got some shoes to fill. Well, that was a nostalgia trip. I never really thought much about this game except remembering that I really liked it as a kid. This felt like a pretty long video for such a game, but if the devs were willing to put more than enough effort into a licensed game, then I might as well. Look at all those freaking takes I did. My voice is dead. They sure don't make them like they used to, for better or for worse. I'm so glad 3D collectathon platformers have been on a resurgence for the past couple years. From remakes of classics to brand new IPs. I'm pretty thankful. Let's just hope that the remake of this game is going to hold up well. I'm TraitGamer58, and that was a Purple Streak. Thanks for being willing to come over on this long overdue video.
Don't worry about it, I only upload once every half year myself anyways. And one of those videos will be a collab with Trey, so look out for that.
Yeah, we're going to be talking about mostly awful YouTuber games. May or may not come out already, so check out his channel. Click the card or the link in the description below the C. I'm TraitGamer58 again. Like, comment, subscribe, and share, because expect more GameCube material in the near future. I'll see y'all next time, so see ya.